Didn't want to have that. Hold on. Why is that on the screen? What the hell? There we go.
Welcome.
Oh, I don't want that. All right.
Welcome.
Welcome to Slogan's Rock and Metal Extravaganza. We're here today to discuss the two John Sykes Whitesnake albums. We got Slide It In, and we got, I guess, Whitesnake or 1987, whatever you want to call it. Logan's got the vinyl of one. There you go. So, yeah, today we have joining us Danny Alcana, as always, and Logan, as always, and special guests Tom Curlis from Curlis Mania and Joseph Sudo from Rock Show Critic or Critique.
Critique, yes.
Critique. Okay. And then, we were supposed to have Kiefer Livingston joining us, but he's kind of having issues. We'll pop him in here if it gets working. So we're going to start with, let's see. I got it written down here who we're starting with here. I think it was, Tom. Tom's going to start us off here. So you want to get right into Slide It In and how you first heard this and whatever, and get into the songs.
Yeah, Slide It In. The first time I heard this album, I was actually in college when I first heard this, and my roommate had the record, and he used to crank it up a lot, and I have a lot of sentimental memories about just cranking this album up. It was like a pre-party album. It's almost like getting ready to go out on a Friday or Saturday night and you crank this album up. And I love it. I'm just going to come clean right away and just say I love this record.
Okay.
I think it's there's something about it. It's interesting because, I know you guys are on kind of like a Sykes sort of theme these days.
There we go.
Oh, here we go. Here he is. There's Kiefer.
Am I on?
He's in the shadow of he's standing in the shadow now. There we go. There we go. All right.
Welcome, Kiefer. So yeah, I was talking about Slide It In. So basically,
you're all. It's like 4 of you disappeared.
Really?
Now 5 of you disappeared.
What?
Oh. We got some technical issues in the slogan.
Technical issues.
And the one of you that hasn't disappeared is frozen. So.
All good. Just keep going, Tom.
All right, I'm going to keep going. All right. So
push through, Tom. Push through.
So this, what's interesting about these, we were talking, I know you guys are on a Sykes theme right now. And what's interesting is that really the Slide It In, you realize that the Slide It In band is very different from the 87 band. And the Slide It In band is essentially Mel Galley is co-writing a lot of the songs and playing guitar on, and then Sykes, I guess, came in kind of at the end of this record. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he came in kind of at the end to add some things here and there, but it's mostly Mel Galley. And he really, like this, it's almost like Slide It In versus the 87, where I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but the Slide It In versus the 87 is kind of like this. I see Slide It In as more of like a live band kind of playing in a room and with like a little bit of less production, whereas like the 87 record just feels like the production is kind of over the top in a good way, but it's kind of crazy. Whereas this one feels like it's one amp, one drums, bass in a room with Coverdale cranking his vocals. And I really don't think there's much of a weak moment on this record, if I'm honest. And I feel a little bit, we mentioned, I think, this has more of an AC/DC vibe at times. There's one song in particular. What is it? Is it All or Nothing? Is like
that opening riff.
It's almost Highway to Hell. I mean, it's like so close to Highway to Hell. Like, oh my God. But it's great. It's really cool. It's a really cool, I like it. I mean, it's sort of like an AC/DC tribute almost. I love it. It's really cool. Great. And the choruses on this record are nonstop. Like they just stick in your head. The title track, Slide It In, there's no innuendo going on in this album either. That's another AC/DC thing. I'm going to slide it in right to the top. I'm never going to stop. I mean, it's like, I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm not sure. I wish I knew.
Kiefer's like, I don't know about any of this. La 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 la.
Yeah, exactly. Not sure what you're talking about, but I do love the chorus. I mean, that sticks in your head. That's slide it in right to the top. It's very catchy. Slow and Easy, another catchy chorus. I mean, the choruses are just stick in your head. And then the songs that were kind of like more like album tracks, are great too. We talked about Standing in the Shadow of Love. That's just too many people. I mean, that's the last track, and that's just a really catchy earworm. Guilty of Love's another could have been a radio song. That's to me, a lot of these songs could have been on the radio. And I love Cozy Powell too. I just think he's just a hard hitter. I love the tone. I love the kick. The kick drum is just like kicking. I love Cozy Powell. So for him, anytime he's in a band, I'm digging it. I like it.
Awesome.
I love the way he's recorded on this album. He just sounds so good. Because is this Martin Birch?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, there's some heavy hitters. Martin Birch producing and Keith Olsen mixing. Keith Olsen worked with Fleetwood Mac, and Keith Olsen was another big name. So it's like they're working with some pros on this record. So there's a reason it sounds so good, So that's Love Ain't No Stranger. I mean, this album is packed. It's just packed with great songs. So I don't know. I just love it. I think it's a great hard rock masterpiece. So there you go. And David Coverdale's also on the top of his game.
Of course.
Yeah. So he's singing out the singing on this is tremendous as well. I just love the he's got that
he doesn't sound British actually. No, you're right. He very sounds like an American singer.
Yes. And it's to me this is a great building block from Saints and Sinners. I think Saints and Sinners is also a great record, and that it has moments. It has moments that sound like this on you can see where they're going. Yeah. So.
All right, perfect.
No.
So we're gonna there goes Kiefer again. We're gonna head on over to Joseph though. So we're gonna go to Joseph now.
Okay, so we're talking just about the.
Just slide it in first, yeah. Then we're gonna go around again for Whitesnake, yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure on the order.
Yeah.
All right. So this album definitely takes me back to my senior year in high school. And first time I ever heard it was me and my bunch of my friends were driving around in my one buddy's car. He had the cassette in there, and we're like out in the boonies because that's where these guys lived. And man, just remember great times with this. They would never even take this cassette out of the player. They would just keep playing it over and over. And eventually, all of us bought our own copies, and the rest is history. The only downside was we didn't get to see this tour. Never came through our area, unfortunately. Man, I would have loved it back in that time frame. But a lot like what Tom said, a lot of these songs, just great memories going through the whole 9 yards here. And the interesting thing is the differences between the UK and the US mix. If you really listen, it's just amazing how much better some of the songs are. I mean, some of them just stand out right away. Give Me More Time. You can definitely feel the presence of John Sykes on that one, how he changed the solo and everything in it. And Standing in the Shadows, another one that really stands out as definitely an improvement, because the original UK version, there was a lot of talk how the album was kind of flat and it was kind of like old school bluesy. So Geffen decided, hey, if we're gonna release this album, we gotta have it properly recorded. So Coverdale said, well, we're gonna put Sykes and Neil Murray on it, and he really went to bat to get John Sykes here because he said he could have left the album as it was, but he knew to break through in America that he needed a fresh sound.
See if this does anything.
Yep.
What was that?
And as far as that goes with the sound, he knew that Sykes was the guy to do it because he didn't play like old school blues. He had more of a newer sound, a fresh image to him with the sound of what Coverdale was looking for. So that's what I was looking at here. As far as that goes, I'd say, Slide It In, Slow and Easy. Those are the centerpieces of the album. Love Ain't No Stranger, definitely another great song. I think the first side is better than the second side, but Guilty of Love definitely was huge over in the UK. And just for some reason, the US, it took a while to really warm up because they didn't have no charting singles on this album over here, but they had enough airplay on the radio where the album obviously sold, and obviously after 1987 came out, that helped many more albums of Slide It In to be sold, so just a great album. And I'm glad that they made the changes from the UK to the US mix, because had they not made those changes, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's
what I've
true.
got.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I've
they
got
would
for
have.
this one.
They would have probably just stayed maybe popular in the UK, but never really broke anywhere else. But yeah, so we're gonna try to go to Kiefer, but his thing keeps spinning. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Kiefer, I feel for you, buddy.
Kiefer, it's your. Uh-oh.
Oh, gosh.
See myself.
We can hear. Oh boy. Oh boy.
I jinxed this whole thing.
We might get the version here.
All right. Danny, you want to go ahead? See if Kiefer's is.
Sure.
All right.
Well, you got to forgive me because there's quite a few songs that I never heard before. I've never listened to the album that much. Of course, I've heard the popular songs. I was a Sykes fan. I'm a guitar player, and was a Sykes fan. But at this time, I had left the music business, so I wasn't really paying that much attention. There were a few bands in the '80s that were big that maybe I grew up with and knew very well. But this obviously these guys were in England, so I didn't know and wasn't paying that much attention. So I'm just going to go over my notes, slide it in. This one starts off with a nice, tasty guitar riff. David comes in singing his ass off, and let's see where this one goes after the verse. Very catchy and memorable chorus. The song is great so far. Verse 2, chorus 2, pretty much the same, rinse and repeat. I'm waiting for the solo. The song is written in a major key, and John does a very tasty melodic solo. The chorus comes back in after the solo, all the way through the outro, and we have a nice ending. Great song. Slow and easy. This is a down-tempo tune. It starts off with a nice bluesy side of David singing, almost a whispering style. So far, this is a bluesy song with David pouring his guts out. Cozy brings it all together, and bang, we're off. The song quickly becomes memorable when it hits the chorus. John comes in and takes a solo, and it's a real tasty solo. Nothing fast and blistering, but a good old-fashioned, very tasty solo. Back into the chorus, and then the band drops out, and some claps come in with the chorus continuing, which is a nice effect. Cozy brings it back in on drums, and we do the chorus, outro, and good job, everyone. Great song. Love Ain't No Stranger. String pads start this one off. Verse 1 and verse 2, kind of a ballady type song. And the band comes in, and we're off to the races again. Nice guitar riff, probably reminiscent of Deep Purple or Rainbow. The guitar riff itself. Good English style rock. David keeps the verses very bluesy, and the choruses are extremely memorable. John brings in a solo, and it's really melodic. I believe he's using a chorus effect on the guitar. They bring the song down again with just string pads and David's voice, which is a great effect. They hit the chorus very hard, and this is a great dynamic song. They end this with the chorus, outro, and once again, a real ending. Great tune. All or Nothing. This song starts off with John, and he's got a bit more of that raw tone happening, that John Sykes tone. Very nice mid-tempo rocker. David singing his ass off. This is a great tune so far. The chorus is good, but I love the verses more. David's so soulful with his vocals. We got a Hammond B3 solo. It's pretty good. Let's see what happens afterwards. I'm expecting John to tear this one up. Oops. Right back into the chorus and no guitar solo yet. Shoot. No guitar solo in this one at all. It fades in the chorus outro. Still a great song, but I would have loved to hear John tear it up. Gambler. Gambler starts off with lush string pads with the mood that you're about to be launched into space. The boys come in and it's a rocker. Let's see what the vocals do. Oh man, I love this intro. David comes in and he's melting the microphone. Verse, chorus, rinse and repeat. We get a very interesting sense. We get a very interesting emulation of horns. John comes in after the sixth part, and after the I got a miss some kind of misword there. John comes in and emulates it exactly, but keeps the vibe. The sun. This is like the sun and a cool wind in the chorus and the outro. We got a fade. It's a good song. Guilty of Love. The whole band comes in on the first note. John does a little solo, and he dubs in a harmony solo. The verse is okay. The chorus is fairly memorable. The song is a little weak compared to the others. Second verse in, chorus pretty much the same. Double leads come in, and it's just like the intro. I'm waiting for John to light this one up. But it doesn't. That doesn't happen because I think the song it would maybe mess up its commercial value. They bring down the dynamics, the chorus after the solo, which is a nice effect. They use the chorus for the outro. Well done. Not my favorite tune, but it was a great song. Still a good song. Hungry for Love. This song starts off sounding something perhaps like I put T-Rex. It's just something it was the guitar riff going using like an octave thing. It was catchy. At least the guitar part is. I put at least the guitar part is catchy. I'm sure that'll change when it all comes together. Nope. So far, I called it. It's a glorified 145. Let's see what they're going to do with it. Of course, it's good. It has some nice harmonies and it's very memorable. The band brings it down in the second chorus. Very nice touch. A couple more choruses and we have an ending. This one kind of laid there a little bit for me, but it was okay. Give me more time. This is a mid-tempo song. David is singing in his high register and he sounds awesome. Verse was great. Chorus is very memorable. Okay, second verse done, second chorus done. John comes in with a double lead and takes over with a very melodic solo. Back to the verse, a couple more choruses, and we have an ending. Good song. We got Spit It Out.
Yep.
A simple guitar part, something similar to what you might expect from AC/DC, comes in as the opener. The first verse comes in and David is laying it down. Of course, the chorus is very memorable. Verse 2, chorus 2, rinse and repeat. After chorus 2, they bring it down and break into the bridge. John takes the solo right after the bridge, and it's a tasty melodic solo. This one fades out in the chorus outro. It's a good song. You know, this is repeating over and over for me. We still have one more tune? Yeah.
Yep. Standing in the Shadow.
I'll make that statement after I do the last tune. Standing in the Shadow. The whole band comes together on this one. David is singing his ass off in the first verse, and I'm really liking it. The chorus is very memorable. I think Tom said that. All the choruses were very memorable and catchy. First, let's see, chorus 2, rinse and repeat. We come to John's solo, which is melodic and simple. A third verse and chorus, and they take the chorus all the way out into the fade. I like this song melodically a lot. I know nobody's asking me, but I'm imagining John was told to lay back a lot on these solos. He did a good job on everything he played on. I agree with what he did, but he could have thrown in a little bit of flash here and there. So that was what I was going to comment on. He's such a great player. It doesn't hurt a little bit, especially in the major key song. You need to keep it melodic. You can use some quickness, but you have to keep it very melodic. But in some of the minor key stuff where he played quite simply, very simply, I think he was told to lay back. I'm pretty sure, because it's not really his style to just follow a song melodically. So that's 2 cents on that. This album sounded great. It was sonically great. It was mixed really well, and the production was really good. And for the most part, except for a song or two, was the first listen. And I like this album a lot. I would put this on my playlist.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna head on over to Kiefer. Oh, he's muted, so let's. All right, Kiefer, you good?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get that in because I found out about this last night at like 10 o'clock. Played these albums 3 times. This album is a masterpiece.
Nice.
Okay. I'm not going to talk about, well, this solo was great and that riff. This album is just great production, which helps because that's a big detractor for me in certain areas of heavy music. But you have Martin Birch. Was this before Birch went solely to Iron Maiden producing?
No, this was after.
Oh, wow. So, yeah. And, yeah, what I did notice in between the 2 albums, there's not that much soloing on Slide It In comparison to 87, where the track has a solo. And this goes to John Sykes opening and closing doors. And so my first, how many people here have heard the UK mix, and what's the difference? That was just a question.
UK one's a little bit like Joseph said, it was a little bit more bluesier. It's not as heavy, I guess you could call it, but it's different. It's just
kind of flat.
It's
because I'm looking at the track listing of the UK on the computer here, and
the track listing is.
They opened with Gambler.
Yeah, which track listing is different.
That's kind of a weird choice. Yeah. This thing's a lot better here. But no, really, every song on here was good. And I can't say that one was better or that one was worse because they were all great. And yeah, John Sykes.
All right. So we're going to go back to Tom for Whitesnake or 87, whatever. I always call it just 87, but yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly. 87 is usually whatever everybody calls it. But, yeah. What's that?
Oh my God, Logan.
Oh, Logan. Sorry, Logan.
What about you?
Skipped right over you, Logan.
And you.
You guys
and myself. I skipped myself and Logan.
Right. I was like, are you guys not going to comment? Like,
I skipped us on our own show. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Come on, Cindy.
I need my coffee, Logan.
You guys hear me all right, though?
No, you're perfect. You're good.
Okay. All right.
You need
So I wrote down some chart action like I always do. Well, I wrote down when they came out too. In the UK, it came out in January the 30th of '84, and like Joey was talking about, the album didn't come out until the 16th of April in '84 in the US on Geffen. So and the album reached number 40 on the Billboard 200 chart, and UK albums at number 9. And I wanted to write, or I mentioned too, when this album was reissued in 2019, it hit number 1 on the UK rock and metal charts. So that's kind of cool. It's certified 2 times platinum in the States and platinum in Canada. I'm trying not to read the chat right now.
Don't.
It's gold. It's gold in Sweden and Japan. Worldwide, selling 6 million. So that's pretty hefty
Yeah, that's
for
crazy.
Damn.
a band that really wasn't selling anything. When I mean, in the UK they were, but compared to everywhere else, they really weren't selling much. And I think it went platinum in the States right after '87 came out. So everybody bought that and
Yeah, people went
went
backwards.
back.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I wrote down some of like how Sykes got into the band. He joined up after Coverdale was looking for a guitarist who could match himself as a frontman. John Kolodner was putting that idea in his head that he needed like a Eddie Van Halen in this band kind of deal, something like that. But Sykes didn't want to leave Thin Lizzy, but Phil Lynott gave him his blessing to go. So, and I wrote down. Well, I didn't write down the quote, but Sykes said he would something about a considerable amount of money to join this band because he gave him like a crazy amount that he didn't think he was going to get, and he got. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I'll get into the tracks. Slide It In, which is the first track. Title track kicks the album off in heavy rock fashion. Great guitar riff. I think it's an A, I believe. It's got a trademark, David Coverdale lyrics all over this album. We all know how he writes lyrics. So, and Cozy's crazy. I mean, Cozy is not as crazy as he is on like Rainbow Rising, or he keeps it pretty simplistic this whole record, but it just works, man. Just has that heavy War on the Floor kind of drumming, and this track's a perfect. Yeah, exactly, Tom. Yep. This track's just a perfect example of that, though. I like that. Like halfway through the verses when they get that steady 8th note groove, and the bass is doing that, and the bass drum is doing that, and the guitar is chugging along with it. You got a great melodic solo from Sykes. But yeah, it's just a great kickoff track. So going slow and easy, which has some eerie keyboards to start out. Set that atmospheric mood of this song, is what I said, before some nice slide work breaks in with, Coverdale's signature vocals, like I was talking about. Bass comes in, doubles on the slide guitar riff. Then they get some syncopated drum and guitar cadence notes. That it's just killer, man. Yep. And I love how it kind of goes with Coverdale's lyrics because he's talking about his heart beating like a big bass drum, and then that syncopated line comes in again. Just awesome, man. I mean, people can say what they want about his lyrics. I don't. It is what it is. It's awesome to me. But yeah, and I think the only time Mickey Moody takes a solo on this record is probably either the first solo, I believe, is him because he always did slide. So, yeah, some nice additional guitar work from Sykes on here. But yeah, and then, like Joey or Danny was talking about, it's got all them clapping and singing along to the chorus. It's just cool, man. Just a great anthem, is what I wrote down pretty much. And we'll get to Love Ain't No Stranger, which is I said 3 for 3 in the hit department for me. I mean, that's a great way to kick your album off, man. 1, 2, 3 like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's got some nice keyboard work from earlier, kind of like how Slow and Easy started, with some acoustic guitars, and I said smooth as silk Coverdale vocal. I mean, he's really got a nice vocal in this.
Slick as a snake. Come on.
Exactly. I should have wrote that down. But yeah, that whole the whole track kicks in with that great guitar riff and return to the chorus line that was in the intro. Great band feel on the song. Everyone like brings their all to make this track really shine, I think. Love the chorus with the band backing vocals on here. You know, and I like how the songwriting structure of the song, it kind of goes back into how it started, you know. But yeah, I think it's just a great classic track, you know. We get All or Nothing after that, which I think this is probably the album's heaviest song, with a great drum groove backing up another killer guitar riff based in G with some of Coverdale's best vocal delivery on this album, I think. Love the chorus again, you know, with the backing vocals playing with Coverdale's lead. Sort of call and response type thing. And then there's a short little section before the solo starts. And, you know, John Lord's all over this track, which I think's just awesome, you know. Anytime he gets to shine as a keyboard player, I'm all for that, man. But yeah, it's just another great track. And then we get to Gambler, which, like Kiefer said, was the side one opener of the UK version, which is pretty strange. When you, probably not the best decision. But
Good
yeah, it's a good side closer. Yes, I agree. And that 2019 version, that 2019 version, it's the side ender, or it's like the side two ender. So it's like, I don't think they knew what to do with this track.
No, they kept it at the opener, because I remember when I YouTube, and I had, every time I started playing, I had to shift around the track listing, so it was the 84 track.
Yeah. But
they always say, told that you should always put, by people that know about this stuff, that you always want to put your strongest track either at the end of side one or side. So
yeah,
I mean, I guess maybe that was for the UK Open with Gambler.
Yeah, that's a strange opener.
Keep the four corners of the record strong, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, I'll get in the Gambler.
Then why would you close side one with Love Ain't No Stranger? Because that's not a side closer at all.
No.
Well, I don't know. I didn't make the decision, Keeper.
Bring it up with David.
Come on, Logan.
Great, it's great on 3. Great at 3.
But
blame Coverdale.
Yep. You're gonna have to talk to him, man. I don't know.
I'm sure he'd come on after what we've said.
But I'll get into Gambler. You know, give some John Lord gives some atmospheric keyboards opening, you know, before that palm muted guitar chords come in, playing off his keyboard work. I think it's got, you know, Coverdale gives a great set of lyrics on this one that always remind me of a Down and Out type character. He likes to use in some of his songs, like Deep Purple, Soldier of Fortune, or Dealer from Come Taste the Band. Kind of the same thing. Music just, I think the music matches the words perfectly on this track. And I love that John Lord gets some more spotlight as well. But yeah, it's a great side one ender, I think. We'll get to side two, which is Guilty of Love. It's got that unison guitar line. Not too dissimilar from what Sykes and Scott Gorham were doing on Thin Lizzy on Thunder and Lightning to me. The song also was the lead single off the album, with Coverdale saying it's a simple and honest love song. So that, you know, I guess, you know, he explained his lyrics there. So yeah, and I mentioned, I wrote down too, this song and Gambler were both actually produced by Eddie Kramer for this album, but something went down and they got Birch back. So, but Eddie Kramer was supposed to do the project, so I don't know. I think something with Sykes and him, they weren't getting along or something like that. But yeah,
so
just another rock anthem. I wrote down
another big name producer, right? It's like that's 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep. They like using the big names, man.
Yeah.
But yeah. Guilty of Love is just a great, great anthem. And I wrote down for Hungry for Love. This might be the track that reminds me most of Trouble, Love Hunter era Whitesnake, kind of. Like that nice little breakdown section. I think it's a solid track. Not one of my favorites on here, but I don't think it's a dud either, because I don't think there's a dud on this album, like how a couple of you guys have said. I mean, there's not really anything bad. Mm-hmm. So we get to Give Me More Time, which I said Whitesnake salute to AC/DC pretty much. Love the opening riff and Coverdale's vocal. It's one of those magical like music moments to me. I just love it, man. get that whole band coming in for the rest of the verses and choruses, really giving a hard rock feel. And I think his solo on this song kind of shows how diverse he can be, because you compare this to like Tigers of Pantang, it's like it's really different. But yeah, another great track. We get to spit it out, which yeah, I said we get a piece of pure lyrical Shakespeare from Coverdale here.
Oh,
so but I always related this one to the title track, not because of the lyrics, but kind of because of the lyrics. But they both kind of have like the stop start feel to them, yeah. But he always get, people can say what they want about his lyrical content, but he always gives us 100%, song also has a cool breakdown section, kind of like how what was it, All or Nothing? One of the earlier tracks, they kind of did a breakdown that was similar. But
I believe so.
Yeah, it's just got a cool breakdown section, like I was saying. But I just think, it's a cool tune. We'll get the last track, Standing in the Shadow, which I think is just another anthemic rocker to close the album out. A great chorus on this one with the backing vocals boosting the track, I think. And I think this song has my favorite Sykes solo. I really enjoy this one. Great track that also got second life. They actually re-recorded and remixed for the band's next album, but it was on the Is This Love single. So it was just on the single. And I think this might be the one that Vivian Campbell plays, but I can't remember. One of those singles, one of these songs, he re-recorded and he plays on it, but that's like the only thing he ever recorded with the band. So, I'll wrap it up. Slide It In, I think, is the best of the previous 3 Whitesnake albums to me. I always put them 3 kind of as a trilogy. Come and Get It, Saints and Sinners, and this one. I just think this one's kind of going in the commercial sense, but I think all 3 of them records are kind of leaning towards that, from the bluesier, heavier stuff of the 70s. They're kind of transitioning, into the 80s, trying to get a little more commercial with it, I guess. But yeah, you get a guy like Sykes in here, and it just makes a great record to me. I gave this a 10. I don't know if anybody else gave the rating, but
no.
This would be a 10 for me.
Wow. Okay. Oh boy.
And
here we go. So warning, I don't love these albums as much as everybody else does, but so probably going to just talk about the songs I actually really love, because this is supposed to be a tribute to Sykes. Because for me, Whitesnake, I like the first 3 albums the best. I like that bluesier, heavier area before all this, so it's different. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, but there's some songs that I like more than others, so I'll just kind of go through the songs that I really like. So, Slide It In is a great opener. Does have a really catchy chorus. Lyrics aside, it's just a great song, like you said, has the slide guitar in there, and it's just, really good song. Even slow and easy, I like. I like the intro. The chorus gets a little bit of the repetition, a little bit too much. Could have done without the chorus over and over and over again. It is a good.
Sydney's not going to join in on hand claps.
No, I'm not joining any hand claps. But I will say, Love Ain't No Stranger is one of their best songs. Love Ain't No Stranger is a great song. I love that riff. I love how it starts off. You're thinking, okay, this is going to be a sappy ballad, but then nope, here comes this riff, and it's just a great song. So I love that. I played this, and I'm like, oh, here we go. I saw the title, Love Ain't No Stranger. Oh, it's going to be a ballad. Nope. So I like that they kind of set you up with that, and it turns into like a great rock song. That's just a great song. And that song itself is like a 10 out of 10 for me. Love that song. And then even with All or Nothing, love All or Nothing. It's a great song. And like Danny said, it could have used a solo, but it still doesn't take away from it. But I feel like a song like that, you have Sykes. You should have let him have like a good heavy solo in there with a song like that.
Mm-hmm.
So All or Nothing still such a great. It's the heaviest on there. The other stuff, I'm not too big on. I don't know. It's not really my cup of tea, but I can see why people would like it. Yes, it does have that commercial aspect to it, that's kind of the whole point of. I mean, it's not the entire point of music, but the whole point is to make money and sell your music, right? So you got to try to appeal to a larger audience. I don't think doing that older stuff that I like and that was popular in the UK would have done for long-term success internationally. Then there's no way they would have ever broke if they didn't remix this, right? So
Yeah.
or re-record it. So I got to applaud them for that. For starting themselves to push onto a new level. But yeah, it's. I must say, even the songs I don't like, the Sykes makes them better. I find his guitar. He's such a good guitar player.
Mhm.
So yeah,
It's kind of like what we talked about when we did Tigers of Panting. He kind of elevates the songs we don't like.
Yeah, he can elevate a song that I'm not too crazy on, and then the solo comes in. It's like, oh, here's a great solo.
Yeah, the song was a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the second album I like a lot more, but we'll get into that. But that's probably because John had a lot to do with the songwriting on it too. So we're gonna go back to Tom to talk about Whitesnake.
All right. Well, I guess the first thing I would say is that there was so much. I mean, you got to talk a little bit about the drama leading up to this album. I mean, there was so much. The story is the story is really interesting because it was. I think that Geffen was putting a lot of pressure on them. Like, this has got to be the one, guys. Like, this is because I think the U.S. release of Slide It In, was that the first Geffen album?
I believe you're right, Tom.
Yeah.
I could be
Is
wrong.
that right? Yeah, I was trying to look that up, but anyway, I think it might have been. But anyway, I think there was a lot of pressure to really follow up Slide It In and really cash in. And I think they were saying, like, come on, guys, this has got to be the album. This has got to be the one. So there was a little bit of pressure, like, going into this. And I think it meant that they really liked Slide It In. And they thought they could really make Whitesnake a much bigger band, with the right album, right? So they, basically the band from Slide It In was kind of like disintegrated, sort of, and it just became a 4-piece with Sykes, Coverdale, and they got Ainsley Dunbar on drums, right? Mm-hmm. And Neil Murray, Neil Murray on bass. So it was basically a 4-piece.
Kiefer has a question.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Quick statement: 87 was the first on Geffen, although Saints and Sinners and Slide It In were on Geffen in U.S. and Canada.
Okay, so it was a UK-US, the difference.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think John Kolodner at Geffen was like kind of saying, like, this has got it. So there was some pressure just from the get-go, I think. And then apparently, so Sykes, he kind of picks Sykes as his like running mate, like running guy. Like, you're going to write all these songs with me. Let's sit down. Let's make this album together. Let's make it together. And I think that then apparently they wrote the songs in like Los Angeles or something. And then apparently, like, they started rehearsing, and then David Coverdale got like a sinus infection or something, and he couldn't sing well.
Yeah.
So like they had the songs ready to go, and they kind of went and they did a lot of the backing tracks. And Sykes, I mean, Danny, I think you were saying something about Sykes being held back a little bit, which is probably true on Slide It In. Man, he is off the leash on this record. Like, I think, you know what I mean? I think he was like, this is my chance, and I'm going to take it. And you guys wanted me, so I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna do it exactly the way I want to do it.
Yep.
And he does, man. He really, like, it's like crazy how much input he had on this album. And he so anyway, so he's working really hard with like Mike Stone, I believe it was, in the studio, and he's like, I got a sound in my head, I want to get it. And he's like, I want a really huge guitar sound. And so they, he had this, what is it, Les Paul Jr. or whatever, and he would put it through like a Mesa Boogie or something, and then he had like two amps that were mic'd like in separate rooms or something like that, and then he would double that. So it was like double amps, and then he would double like the tracks with the same tone, and it was just this massive guitar sound. It's like, it's just crazy sound. So so he just basically went nuts with that. and it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's kind of over the top, but it's like amazingly cool over the top stuff.
Good to me. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, and we used to laugh about it because like a lot of the songs all start with, he does like the pick slide on like 4 different songs. He probably can't help himself because it sounds so great. He just has to do it.
Yeah.
It's like an engine revving up or something. So Sykes puts his stamp all over this album, right? All over it. and it's awesome. I mean, I got to say the first it's kind of just like Slide It In. Somebody said, I don't know, it was Logan or somebody, or I can't remember who said it, but they said that it was sort of front loaded with the first 3 songs were like a knockout, like 1, 2, 3. This is the same thing, at least this album, with Crying in the Rain, Bad Boys, and Still of the Night. I mean, those 3 songs, like, oh, that's like boom, boom, boom. That's just what a start.
Yeah.
You know, like what a crazy start to the record. So anyway, I guess really quickly, I guess Coverdale got a sinus infection, and then he was like, Sykes was getting like impatient because the backing tracks were done, and he was like, "When are you going to sing this album? Let's go. What's the problem?" And I guess he had this long issue with the illness or whatever, and then finally he got over it, and then he sang the vocals, and he did it with Keith Olsen. I guess he went to a different studio with Keith Olsen and did the vocals, and but the vocals on this are great. I mean, so I guess he recovered because the vocals are fantastic, right? So I mean, we used to do the crying in the rain, you know, that whole like, and then he does that whole crying in the rain, you know, he goes really high up. So it's like, I mean, he's really like seriously performing well, and he's killing it, you know, killing it on this record. So
you're stealing all my fire, Tom.
Oh, sorry, man. I'm excited about this.
No, I'm loving it.
Yeah. So anyway, but I got to say, like, you know, so it's a strong album, and it's interesting that he brought 2 songs from the previous. What was it? Here I Go Again, and what was the other one? Is
Crying
in the Rain.
Yeah. So those 2 were the, you know, like we're talking about the early Whitesnake bluesy thing that, and this is like Sykes, basically Sykes up, right? So essentially, and it's much Crying in the Rain especially is like so different on this. It's insane how different it is. It's crazy. And I also love the whole when Sykes does on Bad Boys when Dunbar's doing the triplets and Sykes is doing it with him. I just think that is so cool. It's like such
man. The inner what is it? Ainsley Dunbar and John Sykes are like interlocked this whole album, man.
Oh, they are like this. Yeah. They are totally like locked. So anyway, so the beginning of this album just blows me away. And then, you know, Here I Go Again is a good song. It got a little overplayed. I mean, but it's a people love it for a reason. I mean, it's a very catchy song. Great again, another great chorus again, you know, and people relate to it. You know, here I go again on my own, going down the road. I only ever, you know, a lot of people were talking about, he said that people got in touch with me and talked about how they were divorced and this song was their theme song. You know? Here I Go Again on My Own. So it's a good song, but it got a little overplayed with the video. It got a little tired. It was like all over MTV. I got a little sick of it. But Give Me All Your Love Tonight. That's another good song, another good rocker. Is This Love? I mean, little sappy, but it's a good ballad. It's a melodic song.
But,
you know,
what's the deal with both of these side twos open up with back-to-back songs about love with love in the title? Well, all the
Coverdale.
Hungry for
Love.
Love.
He always writes about love, Kiefer.
There's like 20 love songs. Yeah.
Love Ain't No Stranger.
Both twos open up with songs about
make love.
No, with love and they're all about love. But
yeah. But Children of the Night is kind of like a great deep track. Like that's a rocker. That's a heavy rocker that I really like. Children of the Night.
Yes, indeed.
You know, the only 2 songs that for me, the last 2 songs, it kind of ends on like a kind of and note. Like I'm not a huge Straight for the Heart and Don't Turn Away or like, they're okay. Like I'm like after that awesome start, it kind of like the end, you're like, those songs are okay. But but you know, it's still a very strong hard rock album. I mean, this was before everyone else was doing this. Like everyone kind of copied this after it was done, but like Sykes did it first. So that's yeah.
I love that review.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Head on over to Joseph.
I loved what I could hear from it when my phone wasn't screwing up.
All right. So, yeah, this album blew my doors off. This is a great album. First time I ever heard Still the Night on the radio, and still my favorite song to this day. No doubt. I never get sick of that one. Unlike, like Tom said, Here I Go Again. Yeah, you get kind of sick of it after hearing it for the 500,000th time. Good song, but do we really have to hear it again when the band has so many other great songs out there that radio or TV or whatever you're listening to could play, But yeah, this was an interesting album. It's like by the time the album was actually coming out, none of the guys that played on the album were in the band except for Coverdale. So that was very interesting. It's Sykes had said he systematically fired everybody, including Mike Stone, the producer, and it's just weird how this whole thing went down with this album, and yet he ended up getting a whole new band to go out and play it live, and man, he picked the right people for that as well. Obviously, just a great job on selecting the right people there. Obviously we got the two different versions. I don't know, European version, it kicks off with Still of the Night, but here they put Crying in the Rain on it. Coverdale thought that he would be able to, he wanted those two songs. He felt they were always two strong songs in his collection, the Crying in the Rain, the Here I Go Again. So he decided to re-record them with newer, updated production and everything. He felt that they would do much better, and obviously Here I Go Again hit number 1, so he was right on that. So Crying in the Rain kicks it off, a nice, slow song, slower, bluesy, kicks it all off in style, and then it goes right into The Great Bad Boys, which has been a concert staple for Whitesnake ever since this album came out. Still of the Night, we already talked about Here I Go Again, Give Me All Your Love. I think that's the one that Coverdale really likes the best out of all of them. He always seems to mention how much he loved that song. And any of you guys ever hear the live Starkers in Tokyo CD that he came out? It was just him and Adrian Vandenberg. It's like an acoustic album.
Okay.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, they opened up. He said we should have opened up with "Give Me All Your Love." He really was into that song because the version smokes on there with Adrian on guitar. Is This Love was actually written for Tina Turner, but then once Geffen heard it, they decided, well, we got to keep this song. It's too good to
That's right.
Get rid of it. So that's one of the reasons why they decided to keep it. And Children of the Night, it's very interesting how he always kind of mixes that in. I think it's in Bad Boys Live. He never really plays the whole song. The latter part of his career, he just kind of threw a couple lines in concert and then said it was done. Straight for the Heart. I think this song is one of the best songs. It could be the sleeper on the album. I felt if that one was released as a single, I thought Straight for the Heart would have been a great choice. But I do agree with Tom's choice on Don't Turn Away. It's probably the most boring song on the album, probably overall. Not as strong as the rest of the material, obviously. But yeah, this album, I even got the, guess it's the 30th anniversary edition box set where it's got I think it's 4 CDs and a DVD, and it's got all kinds of goodies in there, and definitely worth it if you're a fan of the album. I definitely recommend getting it. It's a really, he did his box sets up nicely. I don't know if any of you guys have any of them at all.
No.
He did one.
The box sets, no.
He did one for Slide It In, the 87, as well as Slip of the Tongue, and I think he even did one for Restless Heart recently, which was a later release in 97. But they did a great job on these.
Didn't they do one for Good to Be Bad, Joey?
He might have. I know he was trying to get them. He wanted to do them all, but for some reason, I think he didn't own all the rights to the earlier albums.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was some of the problem with that, because I would have loved to hear some of those earlier albums. Like Sydney was saying, he was talking about how the older catalog he was more into. It would have been nice to hear some more stuff from there. But obviously, John Sykes and the collaboration between him and David Coverdale was what put this band on the map in America. There is no doubt about it. Sykes is gets a lot of credit for how Whitesnake broke the American market and knocked down the door there. And it's just weird how he never got to play on that tour, man. I would have loved to see him live on that tour.
So weird.
He was robbed of that. That was,
Yeah.
Band was.
That's what I got for everything.
Yeah, the whole band, yeah.
John, that was a great review. Thank you.
Great stuff, man.
So
Good one.
over to Kiefer.
2 great reviews.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just a weird observation with the 2 loves. So this album, I'm not burnt out on it because my father has an imaginary list of bands that he hates. And this is the band where every time one of those 2 songs were on, Here I Go Again or Is This Love, he changed the channel. So I know them, but I don't know them like everybody else here knows them. This album was awesome. I mean, I may say a little bit more about this than the other one, but Still the Night, the one thing about this, one of the key differences is Still the Night is clearly the standout of the album. Which, I mean, and which probably means it could have been sequenced at probably the end of side 1, but whatever. Slide It In doesn't necessarily have the standout track. This one does. And it opens with a bluesy number, Crying in the Rain. That's an interesting choice for an opener, but whatever. Great 1, 2, 3 punch, Crying in the Rain, Bad Boys, Still the Night. Here I Go. I know everybody here's kind of heard it, but, whatever. Good tune. Side 2, I did like Give Me All Your Love. That was one of the top 2 or 3 songs on the album.
It's catchy.
Love,
Very catchy.
Is This Love? I'll my mouth on. Actually, I did kind of like. I kind of liked it, but it was what Sykes gives a pretty good solo on that tune. A good tune, and it was weird because I had it on for some reason. YouTube, I don't know what Coverdale did for YouTube or them, but every single one of those, every last time I played one of these albums, I didn't get a single ad. So if that's some people are nice like that, and I guess maybe there's a way to ban ads or something. But it was so weird because it's like just as you're starting to warm up to Is This Love, it stops, and then Children of the Night comes right on.
Yeah, it's a weird sequence.
Yeah, most of these songs fade out, but they only fade out some of the way, and then the next song starts. I like the last 2 songs, and I thought, and I'm gonna. There's a lot of noises in this house right now. I thought the solo on "Don't Turn Away," the Sykes solo, best solo on the album. Changed my mind. Wrong. Production wise, not as good as Slide It In. But not a huge difference, but I don't care about it's overplayed or whatever, blah 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 blah. Just shut off the radio.
Yeah,
Great.
That's true.
Great album. It's one of those ones where I kind of don't like it, but at the same time, the album is so awesome. How do you not go 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10? So, yeah, that's like Black Sabbath 4. No, everybody hates changes, but that Black Sabbath Volume 4 is not a 10 out of 10 album. No, it still is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
well, maybe if they didn't put FX on there.
FX. Yeah.
Well, it's just well,
that's just they're Black Sabbath. They get a pass. So I'll just leave the room.
yeah.
But the rest of that album is amazing. You're not kidding.
Go make a sandwich. Okay, Changes is over. Next song.
Yeah.
All right, so we're on
the list. Sunrise kind of board, depending on my mood.
Laguna Sun, yeah. So we're go over to Danny now for his thoughts on 87.
Okay, well, once again, except for the songs that were real popular, fairly new to it. So I have some pretty extensive notes here. Crying in the Rain. The song starts off with the whole band, and it sounds great so far. I love John's tone very much on this one. Verse 1, David is so soulful. Nice bridge and an unforgettable chorus. Verse 2, bridge 2, awesome. John cuts loose on a slew of minor scales and finger tapping in his solo and just completely rips this song a new asshole. Sorry. They come back in on the bridge and David's wailing back into the chorus, and I believe we're going to hear it go through the outro. Let's see. Gorgeous high note David hits in the ending. Man, I'd really like to express myself how much I love this song. I'm afraid it might get us kicked off the air, though. So, yeah, that was a kill. That was a great opening song, man. I loved it. Never heard it before and absolutely loved it. I'll be listening to it more. Bad Boys. This fast tune starts off with John coming out smoking a heavy guitar riff. Verse 1, really good chorus, and it's okay. Oh, the chorus is okay, but the boys are killing someone on this song. Holy crap. John comes out smoking his guitar with some minor riffs and some pentatonic scales. He's blistering that fretboard, and the synth solo comes in right afterwards, and he's smoking the keys. This is totally badass. A quick drum break and into the verse again. We go back into the chorus through the fade out. Damn, this was a hell of a ride, like one of the best roller coasters I've been on. Great tune. Give me some more of this. Still of the Night. That was a great tune, dude. That last tune. Still in the Night. Yeah, this is memorable. John's guitar sound is proud and raw. David comes in on the verse. I think he's holding his nuts because he's hitting some big notes. Verse 2, and I think he's grabbing harder. This song construction is a bit Zeppelin-ish, a little bit, but on steroids. A whole lot of other stuff is going on, and this song is rock. Verse 3 comes in. I'm sure David still got a hold of those rocks, and he's squeezing them. How much more can he take?
Oh boy!
A beautiful, almost ambient mood breaks in. Let's see where it goes. It's got to end up with Sykes' solo somewhere. Oh no, Sykes' solo is a total killer. Beautiful break. I mean, oh, wait a minute. Beautiful break. Yet no. So I'm sorry, I misquoted. No solo. Where's it gonna go here? Oh, it's got the warm sun and the cool breeze kind of a vibe going on here. Some awesome strings going on in the background, and John finally takes his solo over the top, and I'm blown away. And David still has a pair. Who played drums on this, by the way?
This was Ainsley.
Ainsley Dunbar.
Dunbar, Zappa's band.
I told Sid I was listening to him in the late 60s, and boy, oh boy, he's great. He did a great job on this album. Ainsley brings it up a notch, and let's see, and starts playing quarter notes on the snare, giving the illusion that the song's even going faster. These guys are working overtime on this song. This song fades in the chorus outro, and they didn't come up with an ending, but it doesn't matter to me. This song was absolutely awesome. I loved it. Great song. Here I go again. I guess this one I certainly know. I did make notes of it, but I'm going to skip them. I mean, there's all of us that has heard the song. We've heard it, like it's Joseph said, 500,000 times. It's a good song. It's a good song, but it's been a bit overdone, bit overplayed. Give Me All Your Love. This one has more of a shuffle feel. Verse 1, David is really using his bluesy nuances in the verse, and I like it. It's so soulful. Great chorus and very memorable. Verse 2, David brings it up a notch and is really starting to wail. Memorable, memorable verse, and it's great. John starts off his solo with some beautiful pinch harmonics and throws in some ascending chromatic scales, and then does a lot of tricks with his whammy bar, and it's some real flash. And then he hits the pentatonic scales for a ton of feeling. This is a fantastic solo from John. He threw in the kitchen sink on this one. After that brutal solo, the band brings it down in the chorus, and it's a great dynamic effect. Back into the verse, and there David goes again. He's really hitting those big notes. David's all over the place with his bluesy riffs, and it's very reminiscent of kind of that Paul Rogers bluesy singing, only in a higher register, and he's singing his ass off. Back to the chorus, and the guys really peaked on this song. I'm expecting an outro and an ending, and I guess what I got, it ended. Great song, my first listen, and just amazingly great. I loved it. Is This Love? That was another big one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All over the radio.
I'll go ahead and skip that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's about it. It's a good song. It's a very good song, and it has obviously big commercial value. Yeah, I'll go ahead and skip it. Straight for the Heart. This is an up-tempo rocker, but it doesn't sound British at all. It sounds more like kind of like an American rock tune. First verse is okay. Chorus is super bubblegum for me. I don't know what they were thinking on that chorus. The song's kind of hard for me to finish, but I'll go ahead and continue. It doesn't fit on the album for me at all. But I'm glad I finished. I went all the way to the end because the guitar solo is just, oh God, it's really, really good. And it's played in a major key, which is not easy, at least to please another guitar. Not easy to do in rock, to play in a major key and blow somebody away. But he played in major key and he shredded it. It was really good. Very well done. And that's about all I got to say about that one. It was the solo did it, sold me the song. But Don't Turn Away. This one starts off with some guitar and drum crashes and surprisingly goes into a synth pad and light guitar with David singing over the top. David's voice sounds so beautiful. But are we really going to end this album on a ballad? No, this is a rock anthem ballad. The production is beautiful. They come in the verse. They come in verse 2, and the string pads sound very lush, and David is the main focus. Chorus 2 comes in, and the band with it. The solo comes in, switching from minor to major. Yeah, John did that very well, switching from minor to major solo. It was very well done. Back to verse 3 with a lush string pad again, and David. The boys come back in, repeat and rinse, and fade out. This wasn't one of my favorite songs, but the production was absolutely freaking amazing. I wrote, it's gorgeous, and it sonically just, it couldn't have been better sonically. Although I wish they would have ended on a little bit more rocky tune. It just, the production was so good. I didn't mind the way it ended. It was great. So, are we supposed to rate these?
No, you don't have to. Like if you're given, yeah, you don't have to. But if you were to,
first listen, I'd give this a strong 9, and after maybe purchasing it and listening to it more, it might get a 10.
All right.
John's playing was over the top on it.
Oh yeah.
It was incredible, and I'm so glad that whatever happened between this album and the one before it, where they held him back a bit. Man, I mean, give me more of this.
Yeah.
This is great. I get 9 more listens, maybe a 10.
All right. Perfect. So head on over to Logan. Logan, what happened? Went for private dancer apparently.
Maybe so. Maybe I did. That song was written by Martin Knopfler, by the way. A little weird.
That's really of all people to write that. That's not something you'd think Mark Knopfler would write.
Didn't show up. One of these guys impersonate you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Try to pick somewhere here and do a Logan impersonation.
You do sound a little bit alike. Well, maybe we're related. I don't know.
Logan Livingston.
Kiefer Collins.
Kiefer Collins.
You know that sounds better.
Well, we got Tom and Kiefer, so we got Tom Kiefer here.
All right. Okay. I'll get into this. So I wrote down the dates when they came out again, which actually we got this album first in the U.S. on the 16th of March. And the UK got it on the 30th of March. So that's kind of almost an anniversary. Almost. Yeah. We should have held off a day, guys. But I got the number 2 on the Billboard 200 charts, number 8 on the UK albums charts, and number 5 on Canada's top albums charts. And the album certified 8 times platinum in the States, platinum in the UK, 5 times platinum in Canada, and there's a bunch of other ones. I just, I stuck to the couple, I think this is, I'm sure, Sydney, this is probably the biggest album we've ever talked about on the show. So
probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it was, because it went 25,
for sure.
25 million in overall worldwide sales altogether. So it's just massive, man. But yeah, Tom talked about all the, Coverdale had the sinus infection and that stalled the recording process. And I read too, Sykes was, I don't know how he had the ability to do this, but he was trying to look around for another singer when they were waiting for Coverdale, which I can't you can see why this relationship didn't last, for as long as it did. It's a wonder it lasted as long as it did, really. Crazy. But I'll get into the tracks. Crying in the Rain, which is, a remake of the song from Saints and Sinners. As opposed to the original more bluesy kind of vibe, this version's really heavy. No small part due to John Sykes' gigantic fiery guitar tone on here. That's what I wrote down. But yeah, Coverdale gives a great soulful and smooth vocal, ranging from, it goes from different dynamics building up to that, epic chorus. Some great guitar fills from Sykes throughout. He shows off some pinch harmonics and whammy bar dime bombs and stuff. It's pretty cool. And I love that little break, probably 3.5 minutes in with Ainsley Dunbar doing them triplets like Tom was talking about.
Yeah.
I think Tom was talking about another track, but that solo section of Crying in the Rain is just crazy, man. But I love it. And it's a live staple for the band. There's a great, I'm sure you guys have seen Rock in Rio '85. Sykes, gets his own little solo spotlight. That's awesome, man. I watched that the day I think I figured out he passed the day he passed. I think I played that, little 12-minute. That's the first thing that popped in my head when I heard the news. So, but killer solo, excellent opener to the track and totally reimagines the song in a positive way, I think, which, I think they always did pretty well. They did this later on Slip of the Tongue with Fool for Your Lovin', but, that one's okay. But I think these two that they do on here are pretty good. And we get to Bad Boys, which Davey Cretin is wrong in saying this is the worst song on the album. Just saying. Your opinion isn't right, Davey. I had to call you out, buddy. And it's got that classic John Sykes rev up, like Tom was talking about. Coverdale Howling at the Moon, with that epic speedy guitar riff to match. Okay, Davey said second least favorite. Yeah, maybe. But I love in the verses or in the pre-chorus of this song, whatever I think Sykes is playing like a chromatic scale, but it's like super fast, man. It's like,
Yep.
how is he doing? Like I was looking at the notes and I'm like, dude, that's crazy.
I carry
Yep.
on.
Yeah, because he's got to like stretch his hand probably. He's probably going from here to like there to it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the change. I like the change in dynamics of this one with Sykes solo taking the song to a whole nother level, like we've talked about before. I think. Love the ending too. You know, awesome double bass and that fast chorus riff being repeated. You know, with them singing "Under Cover of the Moonlight." Yeah, I just love that song, man. And yeah, Keeper is 100% right. Still of the night. I mean, does it get better than that? I
I
mean,
always am.
it's hard to beat that, man.
Yes, sir.
I said the album centerpiece and one of the finest 6 minutes and 38 seconds put down on record in the 80s. I mean, yeah, and I seen it was based on an old demo that Coverdale recorded with Blackmore of all people. So, but I guess Sykes kind of took it and rearranged it and made it his own thing, you know. It's kind of like I said, stylistically, the song is like electric blues, you know, with that stop-start riff, and oh man, just love it. And that great melodic part that Coverdale came up with, it said on a synthesizer, I think, the little cello part, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you get just a heavy rock song, and then you get that melodic, atmospheric track in the middle of it, like, and you don't think it's gonna go there. Like I played this song when I was coming home from work today. I think I played it twice, 2 times in a row. I was like, yeah, I was pulling out somewhere. I think I was pulling out of work, and it was getting done, and I was like, it's so nice. I got to play it twice. It's just, oh man, yeah, great track, man. But yeah, hard rock anthem. And we'll get to Here I Go Again, which is, you know, another remake. Track, I think this is the track that pretty much broke the band, you know.
Yeah.
You know, being Whitesnake's only, it was their only #1 single in the US and Canada. So it's kind of cool.
They have those two hits, right?
Yeah.
Or do they have more?
Yeah, I think you're. Yeah. Yeah, they made a couple of videos though. This one. What else did get a video of? Is This Love and Still the Night? Yeah. You know, and they all have Tawny in it, so you know, that's probably was a big draw to keep playing those videos over and over. You know,
That sold the video for sure. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And I want to mention on this track, Vandenberg actually plays the solo, so not sure if something was going on there with Sykes already. You know, but yeah, it's just, you know, it's a great track. I mean, yes, you know, have we heard it 300 times? You know, sure. I mean, but it's a hit, man. It's a hit for a reason, you know. But then we Give Me All Your Love, which is another upbeat, catchy rocker, kind of more in the shuffle groove, like Danny was talking about. Got some nice bass and guitar lines throughout the verses and choruses. Some nice prominent keyboards too, I noticed in this one. Probably one of my favorite Sykes solos too in this track. I really like it. Great whammy bar. He goes crazy, man, on that first like 4 or 5 bars. It's like, what is he doing? It's just crazy. You listen to this and then you listen to Slide It In, which I know he was just kind of filling in gaps on Slide It In, but it's just crazy, man. Like Tom said, this was like his moment. He knew he needed to show off what he had, and he did, I think. I mean, yeah. Yep. Then we get to the ballad, Is This Love, which, you know, like you guys said, originally written for Tina Turner. I like the nice clean tone Sykes gets on this one, and there's some nice lead unison lines after the chorus line. And I think Kiefer mentioned the solo on this one. It's got a good solo to it, or somebody did. I can't remember. But
it's
yeah,
not like a loud, bombastic ballad. It's kind of reserved for a heaven ballad.
I think it kind of shows
choice for
it kind of shows his diversity in you know, playing and stuff. But yeah, it's a good track, man. Again, you know, probably everybody's heard it 300 times, but it's a good song, you know. But probably my personal, if I was gonna pick a personal favorite, it'd be Children of the Night on here.
Really?
And I always kind of put these, like this one and Bad Boys, kind of together. Like the riffs kind of are similar, but yeah, I like how this track really mixes the light and soft aspects of the band quite well. And yeah, I think this is my favorite solo. I love what he does on this one. Yeah, I finished my notes off just a shot of rock and roll adrenaline on this song. I mean, it's just killer, man. And then we'll get to Straight for the Heart, which I agree with what Joey said. I wrote down the same thing. I think this could have been a single if they would have pushed it, It has potential for one. It's got a catchy chorus, kind of more in the pop vein, But yeah, I think it kind of levels up too with another awesome Sykes solo. But yeah, it's a cool tune.
A ripper.
And Don't Turn Away. I guess I'll kind of bat for Davey. I guess I'll kind of help him out here a little bit. It's kind of, this song's more in that power ballad style with some atmospheric keys throughout the track. And, Sykes kind of shows his more cleaning style of playing. But the only bad thing about this track to me is like the last minute kind of feels like it's building up to another solo, which, I just wish they would have got like one last solo. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want it to fade on the solo because I don't like that. But if we got a last solo and then a big ending, that'd be pretty cool on this track. And I'm not going to talk about these tracks because I didn't write any notes for them, but the UK version had two other songs called You're Gonna Break My Heart Again and Looking for Love. And I really like Looking for Love. I actually was texting Davey earlier. I think that's like a precursor to what Sykes would do in Blue Murder a little bit in Looking for Love.
I know that song from Urban Cowboy. I don't know that, though.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, he must have redone it for
Johnny Lee.
I think wasn't the other song an older song too though? What was it? Ain't No Love. No, Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City was an older song. That ended up on they re-recorded that, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cover, I think, too.
Yeah, that's a cover too.
But
right.
yeah. That's about all I had to say about it. I mean, I gave it a 9. So
okay. So if Don't Turn Away wasn't there, you'd probably give it a 10. Or maybe Is This Love? I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe. Oh, I wanted to mention too. I think Children of the Night would have been a better closer.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
To end like that, or like maybe starting like that because how he does like the Are You Ready to Rock that chorus. That would have been killer to start off with too. But it's hard to beat Crying in the Rain or
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'll shut up now. Sydney, talk.
Oh, shut up.
No.
Okay,
real quick,
Good job,
Logan, you mentioned about that Don't Break My Heart Again thing. Don't Break My Heart Again was on an earlier album, Come and Get It. The song on the Whitesnake album was actually You're Gonna Break My Heart Again. It's a different song, just to let you know. But
thanks, Joe. Yep.
Close in title for sure.
Their titles are confusing. Everything's love.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like what?
Which love song is this again? Guilty or Is This or Give Me? Which one?
Hungry, guilty.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
funny.
yeah, I misspoke earlier. I shouldn't have said these albums I'm not crazy. It's the first Slide It In. I'm not this. However, going into it, I was expecting. I know it's crazy. This was the first time I ever actually listened to this. Was for this. I've had this for like most of my CDs. I did start buying my own CDs, but most of them are from my dad's collection, and he let me take them when I moved out. So this was in his collection already. Never really bothered to listen to it. I knew the 2 hits, and it kind of put me off from it. It's stupid to do that because two songs don't make the album, right? So, so I went into it not expecting much, but then right off the bat, and like I said, when I got into bands, I always tend to start at the earliest in their career. That's just how I've always done it. I'll go and listen to the first album. Like I wasn't around when this stuff was like getting played, and so I just didn't grow up with this at the time. So when I listen to this old music, I'm starting at the beginning. So then I work my way up, and that's the problem, right? If you fall in love with the earlier stuff, and you kind of move on to this later stuff, it's kind of hard to equate the two sometimes. But so I heard Crying in the Rain, the original, funny enough, first. It's completely different. Yeah, the earlier one, I do like the original more, which is weird because I'm more of like a metal guy, but I like the older bluesy one. But the Sykes though, for if you're gonna redo it, they did a great job with it. Like he it suits the album. If he just re-recorded it and played it the same as they did as the original, it'd be pointless. He added like extra like I guess extra balls to it, you could say. But it's just the way he does it is just a great ballad, but it's heavy. It's a heavy ballad. So yeah, they really did. If you're gonna remake your own song, at least change it and kind of up it a little bit. So they did a great job with that. And then yeah, I also like Bad Boys. Bad Boys is a great song. Just another highlight of this album. But Still of the Night, yeah, that main riff, that's even that gets played on the radio quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
For a song that's played on the radio a lot, that's actually one I will not skip if I hear it on the radio. That's just a great song. That riff sticks in your head, and Sykes doesn't get enough credit for what he created on this, like co-writing like all this stuff. There's no way Whitesnake would have been big without John Sykes. There's just no way. And then yeah, Here I Go Again. Yeah, don't ever probably really need to hear it again. And it's weird to say I like the original better because you never hear the original, so you don't really get tired of it. So I'll kind of go back. And it's a little bit weird with the hobo instead of the drifter. It doesn't really work, but yeah. They did amp it up, though, with the guitars. I'll give them that. But yeah, it's just a song that's been so overplayed on the radio. But yeah, then Vandenberg did the solo, so it's not really, yeah. Give Me All Your Loves, yeah, it's a catchy one. What a great catchy chorus on that. That whole, yeah, shuffle beat. So that's a great song. That's a fun one. Is This Love? Yeah, that's the one I probably would actually skip. It's just kind of, it's a little bit sappy. And that's been, yeah, that's another... That's a radio, yeah, that's the radio hit, but I could do it. But Children of the Night, by far, is by far my favorite on this. And it's, I guess, somewhat of a deep cut, like you were saying, right? They play snippets of it live, but not the whole thing. Which is a shame, because, yeah, what a great song, Children of the Night. And I'm wondering if Sykes really had influence on lyrics there, because you have that line at the beginning with Now the Boys Are Back in Town. I know he wasn't in Lizzie when they wrote Boys Are Back in Town. He was in the band later. But I just kind of found that odd that you have that line thrown in there and John Sykes is in the band and was in Lizzie at one point. So I wonder if there was any... I wonder if Sykes had any hand in that part of that song lyrically at all. I don't know if he did, but yeah, that's a great song. Children of the Night is amazing. That's just such a great song. I saw them live with opening for Judas Priest, and I don't think they played that. I have to look at the set list, but I don't remember hearing that. Like I said, they might have just played like a part of it. But it was a good show. Like I was impressed, and Coverdale was on point that night too. So we saw that show, and then we read like in the news like 3 or 4 days later that they're postponing or canceling the rest of the tour because his voice was shot. So he blew his voice out at the show. So we actually got to see the show, and then he blew his voice out and like postponed dates or canceled dates or something. So got lucky to see him before that happened. And apparently now his voice is not what it used to be. But yeah, happens to everybody. But yeah, it's straight for the heart. I like it until it gets to the chorus. That's the part that the chorus is very 80s like romantic comedy movie credit kind of sounding. To me, it's all sing-songy. I don't know, but the solo saves it. That solo is amazing. And then you're like, oh, where'd that come from? It's kind of like an upbeat, not really a pop song, but like it's just like a straightforward kind of upbeat, happy song. And then the solo kicks in. You're like, oh, okay, that's a great solo. Yeah, like I said, Sykes elevates these songs too. And then Don't Turn Away. Yeah, like I said, like most of us have said, that's kind of the forgettable. It's kind of the forgettable song. It's a weird song to end the album on. Like I don't know. I would have ended it with Children of the Night. Or even maybe Still of the Night, something like that, or Bad Boys. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird album closer, but I would still. Yeah, I had low expectations going in, but after listening to it a few times and giving it a few chances, I could give it an 8.5.
Oh,
8.5. So
nice.
yeah, I still think it's a solid. Like I said, I like those first like 3 Whitesnake albums the best, and then even like a few of the other ones after that. But if you were to erase all that from history and that didn't exist, this is by far their best album. So
Yeah.
it's a great solid hard rock album. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, so I would give that a solid 8.5. And like if I hadn't heard these hit songs over and over and over again, and I don't think they're the greatest songs in the world to begin with, I might give it like a 9 or 10. But those two kind of better than a 2. Yeah.
Well, it's no surveillance. Let's be honest.
I did give an album a 2. Yes, I have done that. So yeah, well, let's wrap that up. Wow, we managed to do that in an hour and a half with 6 of us.
That's pretty. Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
Way to go, guys. Way to go.
That's a miracle, especially with all the issues at the beginning.
Joseph and Tom, I love both your reviews.
Those are some
very
all you guys did great, man.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. We all did great for Michigan.
And Kiefer too. Yeah. I'm sorry, Kiefer.
Did I have to ask? Sykes was gone before the album got released, right? Basically.
Yep.
So, but didn't he co-write like most of the album?
Maybe that's why. I don't want to share the money with you.
Yeah, like he must have gotten paid though, right? He got mailbox money.
He had to get paid royalty.
Yeah. So he made a lot of money from this album.
But he lost out on the concert money.
Yeah.
Touring money.
Yeah.
But the public performance, in other words, when something's played on TV, radio, or in the public's ear, that's a public performance royalty, and you certainly must have got that.
Yeah.
The only songs he won't get money from is "Crying in the Rain" and "Here I Go Again" because those were written
like
back
sucks
in
because
'82.
those are the big.
Yeah.
Bernie Marsden actually co-wrote that one with Coverdale back in '82, and then Coverdale wrote "Crying in the Rain" by himself. So,
okay.
And how many units again did this album sell?
It's like 8 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, 8 times
in the
platinum
U.S.
In the U.S. Yeah.
In the U.S. Yeah.
No, worldwide. 20? Did you say?
Worldwide is like 25 million or something.
It's 25 million. Or I thought I saw that number. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Incredible.
Massive, just a massive album.
Yeah.
Huge, man. If you just put 87 and like slide it in, sold 6. So that's already over 30 million albums right there.
Those are mechanical royalties. So he made a ton of that too. He made a ton of mechanical royalties too. That's a thing that you have physical that sold as a mechanical. So he made it.
Yeah.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Somebody said in the comments he basically lived off royalties for the rest of his from that album, the rest of his life, essentially. I mean,
pretty much.
I wanted to mention that too. Coverdale wanted to be done after Slide It In. He said that.
Really?
Yeah, he was gonna finish the band, but then Geffen wanted him and Sykes to start writing a little bit more because of how good this album, was doing. So, isn't that crazy? Imagine if this never happened.
That's insane.
Yeah. Who knows what Sykes would have done? Maybe he would just quit music altogether. Who knows, really? Maybe they would have done more Lizzie. I don't know. Who knows what would have happened? I don't know.
Well, what an album they made.
Yeah, it's crazy because really 3 hits. Really, when you think about it, you got "Still the Night." "Crying in the Rain" wasn't really that big of a hit, really, was it?
No,
not really.
No. So all you really had was "Here I Go Again," "Is This Love," and "Still of the Night." But those songs were so massive. Those 3 songs. There's still 6 other songs, but like people just those 3 songs allowed it to sell so many. It's just crazy.
Well, the thing is, you got the guys with "Still of the Night," and then you got the women with like "Love" and "Here I Go Again."
Yep.
I remember like a lot of women were like, "Oh, I love Whitesnake. It's great."
You like one song. You bought it for the one song. Be honest.
Yeah, like one song.
Here's a better picture of that. That was a great comment. Whoever mentioned that. They've only got 4 top 40 hits. That's amazing.
And yet a 25 million album units sold.
That's 4 top 40s across all his whole catalog.
Yeah.
He had
that shows you how big one song could be.
2 of them were on "Slip of the Tongue" and 2 of them were on this one. So crazy.
Right.
It's a rock band. It's not This is a rock band selling 25 million units. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Probably won't see that again anymore.
No, you won't see that anymore ever.
No,
That's
you,
incredible.
you think a band like Maiden. Maiden was what 60? I think the Maiden's at like 60 million.
On one
And
album.
no, just
For
total.
their whole catalog.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
And you think of how popular they are, really. But they made more money touring, I think, than they did albums.
Were they
Yeah,
at-
it's just crazy.
It's a lot of albums.
headline during this? It says here, I'm just reading through Wikipedia, the 87 album, the first half of the tour was opening for Motley Crue
Yeah.
on the Girls, Girls, Girls tour.
Oh, that must have went
So I
well.
don't see anything.
I'm sure they blew him off the stage.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was talked about in the comments before.
Oh yeah.
That I saw that show here in Buffalo. It was a joke seeing Motley Crue come on after Whitesnake, and Motley Crue played half their set was covers. It was just ridiculous.
Really?
Oh yeah, because they did like a medley with Jailhouse Rock, because that was one of the songs from Girls, Girls, Girls. And,
oh yeah, they did cover that. I forgot.
I think they did Helter Skelter. So they were playing nothing but, it seemed like half of them were covers. And, Whitesnake only played for an hour, but man, they knocked the doors out. And then Motley Crue just couldn't really follow up with anything.
No.
And then, so the next year, it was almost like a year to the date, Motley Crue, Whitesnake headlined. They brought Great White, much better overall concert.
Yeah.
Well, Great White were a good live band. Yeah, Great White were good.
I knew the guitar player pretty well in the day.
From Great White?
Remember his name, yeah.
Kendall, Mark Kendall.
Mark Kendall?
Mark Kendall, yeah.
The tall blonde guy.
Yep.
We're very,
Nice.
very
With the shark guitar, come on.
we're talking 50 years ago, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Remember everybody's name.
Yeah.
But I knew him well. Yeah, I knew him very well.
That's cool.
Well, that was a great show, guys. I mean,
Yeah, that's great.
All the time.
So of course, as we like to do, the guests want to plug what they're doing on their own show. So Tom, what do you have going on Curlis Mania?
Oh, well, the most recent video I just dropped this past week was it's called The Road to Nebraska. It's a Bruce Springsteen. I just finished reading this book called I think it's called Road to Nowhere. No, not Delivering Me from Nowhere. And it's a book by Warren Zanes. And I got really into Springsteen. So and it kind of reintroduced me. It got me back into Nebraska again. So I did that. I just did that video. That was on my own. And Davey, as Davey's bringing up, I got to bring it up. The Cars, we just did the panorama with Davey Cretin, and that's doing, actually that video is doing really well. It's funny because we're going through the whole Cars catalog, and the first two videos didn't do as well as Panorama did, which
That's
is
strange.
kind of bizarre. But I'll take it. I guess people really like Panorama, which is awesome. I do too. So check that out. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff on. Just check out Curlis Mania. That's all I can ask. So.
All right. Perfect. And Joseph, what do you got going on?
Well, as some of you guys know, I actually have a website and the YouTube channel. So on the website, we've been starting to finally, concert seasons are starting to happen now a little bit by us. We just did the Dream Theater show in Rochester. So there's a good review on that up there, along with some photos. And as far as the YouTube channel goes, me and Davey Cretin actually just did our top 10 Robert Plant songs, the solo catalog there. So that's something that just dropped a couple days ago. And that was a fun show. If you're a Robert Plant fan, definitely suggest trying to tune into that one. And we got some other things coming up down the road. We got this segment that we call From the Bottom Up, where we take an album and we basically rank the songs from our least favorite to the best song on the album. Kind of got that idea from a good buddy of ours. A lot of you guys know John Clauser.
Yep.
He used to do this A to Z, where he would start off with the letter A, pick a band, pick an album, and do the same thing. So I kind of expanded on his concept. So I always try to give him credit for it, because that's how I came up with the idea here. And it's been doing pretty good. I mean, some albums are duds. I guess maybe some people don't care for them as much as others. But we've had some really good traffic with some of these albums that we've been doing. And we did actually do 1987, and we did Slip of the Tongue. So if you guys get a chance, check those out. Where we talk about each song a little bit as we rank them, and that's about it. That's about it for now.
You put their information in the comments, did?
What's that?
Do you put
oh yeah, so all our at the so also if you go to like the bottom of the home page, everybody's like channel, all the people that have like guested on this show, there's the links to all of their channels as well.
I want to catch both your shows.
Yeah, so you can go to anyone that's ever been on this channel, you can go and like check out. And we've actually been on, Logan's actually been on Cureless Mania with Tom. A
time or two, right, Tom?
Yeah, we just
twice,
did
right?
Lizzie recently. We
you
did
just did
Johnny
Lizzie.
Fox versus Jailbreak. That was cool. Yeah.
Then me and Logan were on Joseph's channel, and so.
Yeah, we did the Scorpions top 10.
Top 10 Scorpions.
Yep.
Nice.
That was another fantastic show. You guys were
that was
awesome.
Fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. So go check. Make sure you check their channels out. There you can go to the homepage. They're there at the bottom, and So I'd like to thank everybody for watching. We got Danny Alcana, who's always here. We got Tom Curlis. Go check out Curlis Mania. We got Joseph Sudo. Go check out The Rock Show Critique. And we have our newbie here today, Kiefer Livingston. It was fun to have Kiefer here. Get a way younger person's perspective here. So that was fun. And then, me and Logan, as always. And tomorrow we're back with another music hangout for our state-to-state obscurities and first lessons. We're going to be tackling, oh boy, Logan, what's the states we're on here?
I don't. Massachusetts is one of them.
Maryland and Massachusetts, yes. We're going to be playing bands from those two states. So we'll looking forward to that. And then, next week we'll be back we'll be doing our Sykes show on Sunday next week. We'll be having Davey Cretan joining us for Blue Murder, who's there in the chats right now. And and Danny's going to be back with us as always. Yeah. So that'll be another fun one, and looking forward to it. So we'll see you tomorrow, and have a good day, everybody.
Meeting you good guys. Thank you. It was a great job.